Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Or if you happen to be new here or just a regular visitor who hasn't subscribed yet, please consider clicking that big old red subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest Star Trek and sci-fi TV news on YouTube. I also want to thank everybody for all your support over the last couple of years of me running this channel. I'm just about to hit 25,000 subscribers, which is a great milestone for the channel. And to celebrate that, I'm having a sale in the merch store where you can pick up Star Trek or sci-fi themed t-shirts, hoodies, mugs and caps. So that's a great way to celebrate the channel hitting 25k subs. So I want to thank everybody for your great support over the last couple of years of me running this channel. So today we're talking about Star Trek Picard Season 2. Some new photos have come out to showcase some of the sets and some of the designs and so forth that we're likely to be seeing in Star Trek Picard Season 2. And by the looks of it, we're going to be seeing a Federation Starship back in the era of the Enterprise D, Voyager, that sort of stuff, because we've got some new shots, but they don't showcase the more updated sort of holographic displays that we see in Star Trek Picard of Season 1. They're the typical LCARS displays that we saw on Next Generation and, you know, DS9 and Voyager and so forth. So we could be in for a classic Federation Starship as part of our transport for the crew, as part of Season 2 of Picard. So let's take a look at these new shots and see what we might be able to learn about the Starship for which the crew will be on in the upcoming season of Star Trek Picard. So in our first photo here, this console just epitomizes that LCARS console display look from Next Generation. We've got navigation, helm control listed there. We've got all the sort of purple and yellow and orange control colorings that the Enterprise D had. It looks like we're definitely getting a Federation Starship in Season 2 that is along more so the same lines as the Enterprise D or Voyager. The mesh on the floor in the background and some of the detailing on the wall there in the background doesn't look all that Federation. It looks sort of almost like a Borg cube or something, what you might expect on the wall or floor of that. So we've got an interesting contrast here between a couple of different design styles. In our next shot, we get a typical red alert display and we can see a little bit of consoles in the bottom of the frame there. To be honest, this console here looks like, with the black and the white and the grey, it kind of reminds me more like what we saw is going to be upcoming in Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And the red alert font is more along those lines and classic Trek stuff as well. So this could even be something more along that era of Star Trek from the looks of it. Now here we've got a display here saying warp drive offline with a red alert and damage report. There's a bunch of indicators in this shot which sort of showcase what looks like they're pointing to maybe warp nacelles on the top there. The actual warp drive offline thing is obviously covering a large part of the silhouette of this starship, so it's very difficult to kind of gauge the shape of the ship. But it does definitely seem like we're potentially getting a more typical Federation Starship design here. This doesn't look like it's part of La Sirena. Here we get, looks like a shot from sickbay or medlab or whatever it's called, where we've got a Hypo Spray dispenser. We've got a whole bunch of the typical LCARS display there in orange and blue with a more sleek and stylized version of a Hypo Spray there in the middle of the console. We've got a whole bunch of capsules there that fit into the handle of the Hypo Spray. So this potentially looks like it might be something more along that late 24th century stylings, as opposed to the Hypo Spray designs we saw, you know, in Voyager and DS9 and Next Gen. Here we get Patrick Stewart. He's obviously going over his script for the new season. From the looks of where he's sitting, if you look to the right of this shot, it definitely looks like a hallway of a Federation Starship. We've got the lights and paneling there. We've got arched cavities in the walls with the sort of grey and silver stylings on the floor and walls. This definitely looks like he's sitting in a hallway set for a Federation Starship. Wherever they happen to be in this set, it definitely doesn't look like La Sirena. It's something completely different. Definitely Federation in its designs. We've got all the old style buttons and console displays. This is interesting. I'm liking it. For some reason, I much prefer the actual backlit glass displays from Voyager and Enterprise. There's something a bit pokey and a bit weird about them just pushing their fingers in the air with the whole holographic displays like we had on La Sirena in season 1. I think I prefer the actual things we can actually physically touch buttons on a glass control screen. I think for some reason that seems a little less hokey than the actors kind of doing all this sort of stuff in the air. It's a bit weird. Here we get a shot at obviously a replicator. We've got a menu from the replicator of whatever ship they happen to be on. We've got Atlantic salmon, we've got French fries, diced tomatoes, peppermint ice cream, Atlantic cod with garlic and fingerling potatoes. So we've got a nice little menu thing going on here from the food replicator. And whatever they happen to be eating from the food replicator, here is a nice little set table on whatever Federation starship they're on. If we look at the Starfleet logo on the crockery, if I guess you'd call it, we've got the Starfleet Delta, which does look in the same style that we saw in season 1 of Star Trek Picard in terms of their comm badges. So this does seem like it is around that 2299 kind of era for Starfleet, as opposed to if they were, doing the whole time travel thing, which we know that they're doing in season 2, whether they're traveling to a different era. So it definitely seems like this is quite present in the same time period that our crew were in season 1. Here we've got a crew member. He's eating his lunch. He's obviously watching something on his phone, resting up against some sort of juice he's got there going on. And he's wearing, looks like Tellarite prosthetics. We've got the tusks coming out the side of his head. Looks like his makeup maybe isn't 100% finished. So we're obviously going to see Tellarites in season 2 at some point. Now here we have a Bosun's Whistle. They used to use these a lot in the Star Trek original series feature films, where we saw, a bosun come in and he'd have the little whistle and he'd go doo-doo, to alert the crew that the captain's about to make an announcement. And if we look at this, the design style for this, it's almost identical to the one we saw in Star Trek 6. We've got the C-19 on it, we've got the lights, and we've got the Starfleet logo. There's a different lanyard that's coming off it. In this movie we had a black lanyard, whereas in this image it's sort of a gold or yellow braided shoelace style. And from the looks of it, from the person who's holding it, it looks like they're wearing a more contemporary or up-to-date Starfleet uniform. We've got the gold shoulder and black sleeves, so it seems like it's one of the present time Starfleet uniforms. But the actual Bosun's Whistle itself is right out of Star Trek, the original series feature films in its design. We've got a neon sign here, which looks like it's from a bar or some sort of nightclub advertising Arcanus Lager. Now, I think we saw this displayed in one of the other Star Trek. It might have been Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, with McCoy that was in a bar or something, and we had Arcanus Lager displayed there. And last we get a shot of Orla Brady, who plays Laris. She's got her Romulan ears on. We have seen photos of her in season 2 which show her not having Romulan ears. I think they show her having human ears. So obviously at some point either she loses the Romulan ears or that she undergoes some sort of disguise to hide her ears in this show. But one way or the other, we'll be getting her as both a Romulan and as a disguised Romulan with more human earlobes in season 2. So that was a few little extra looks at what we're up for in season 2 of Picard. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I want to thank everybody for helping the channel hit 25,000 subscribers this week. Much appreciated for all your support over the last couple of years. The channel's growing every week, every month. It's a big part of your support that helps that and makes that happen. So I want to thank everybody for that. Please leave a super thanks if you're able to, or if you can't, just like and comment on this video. Be sure to click on the subscribe button if you haven't already done so to get us well over those 25k subs. And as I said, check out the merch store where I'm having a big sale at the moment to celebrate the channel hitting 25,000 subscribers, where you can pick up all sorts of really cool Star Trek and sci-fi TV themed t-shirts. So be sure to check that out. And I'll see you guys very soon for my next review. See you soon.